Yeah, welcome to today's class. Today we want to look at storage classes. In the last class, I gave you a brief introduction and explanation to what I'm about to teach you. So today's class, I'm going to teach them one by one. So today, I'm just going to look at the automatic storage class, right? So this is what we are going to look at, automatic storage class. I told you we have the extern, we have static, we have register, and then we have auto. So today we are just going to look at automatic storage class, which I told you in the case of a community, these are the workers, the daily workers. So that is what we want to look at. So I'm going to write a simple program to illustrate this, and then I will use a blueprint, which is what these storage classes. So I will show you where location in the memory, right? Location in the memory, and then two, we'll look at the scope. Um, Three, we'll look at what the lifespan, and then four, we'll look at the default value. Default value. So these are the four things I'm going to use to explain this automatic storage class. So let's write a simple program with our C language to explain it. So here I will say include. So our program starts here. Include stdio.h, and now I'm going to write a function. So I'm going to write a function void. This function is not going to return anything. It's just going to print out a value on the screen. Void. I will call it auto example. Auto example. So it's a function. Now, it's not expecting any parameter. So inside this function, I'm going to declare a variable. So I will call it auto integer num, right? And I will assign 10 to it. So this is the same thing as saying int num equals to what? 10. That is assign 10 to num. So this is the variable name. This is the data type. And then this is the value that you are assigning to what? To the variable. So this is the same thing as this. So anytime I declare a variable with a data type without indicating the storage class, it means that is an auto. So anytime you see me write my source code and I don't declare the storage class, it means it's auto. So this is the same thing as what? Int num assign 10. That is what it means. So if it is static, I have to indicate. If it is register, I have to indicate. If it is extern, I have to indicate. Right? So that is what this is. So this is the storage class. So now I'm going to say print f inside auto. This is just a string literal. Inside auto, num equals percentage d slash n, then num. So what have I done? I'm calling the printf function. This printf function will be gotten from this standard input output header. So I'm calling the printf function and I'm supplying these parameters to it. This is the first parameter, second parameter. So this is a string literal. It's going to print this out inside auto. Num equals, this is an expression that is expecting a value. So the value will be obtained from this num. So this num is a variable that is in the memory. So, but where would this be stored? That will be determined by what? By this storage class. So this is my function. I'm going to close the function here, and then I will write my main function, which is the entry point of the program. So my main function is int main, inside this my main function, I'm going to call this function. So I will say auto example. I will call it the first time and I will call it again. Auto example. Then I will say return 0. Then I will close this. Right? So this is my program. Now, I created a function, which is what? Auto example. The function name is auto example. And it is void, meaning it's not going to return, it's not returning a value. So it's just going to carry out an action, which is what? To print out this on the screen. Now I'm declaring a variable, and the variable name is what? Num. And this variable is expected to hold an integer value. That is what this is telling you. And the variable is what? Auto. And I've told you, if I don't write this auto, it also means it is automatic. Now, I come to this my main function, and I create, inside this my main function, I'm calling this function. So control will go to this guy. So it means in my memory, which is my memory layout, I have this. I have this. So I will just consider this and this to be what? The command line argument and the environment. Then this place will be what? Stack. The stack. And then this will be what? The code slash text segment. So this is what? The heap. And then this is, let's just call this the data segment. The data segment. Now, when you compile this program, it is going to be stored here. Then, when I call this main will be loaded into the stack. This main will be loaded into the stack. Then inside that main, so a stack frame will be created for my main. Then inside this main, I'm going to call my auto example. So this auto example will also be loaded into what? Into the stack. Once it is loaded into the stack, control will be given to it. It will assign this 10. So this num is a variable that will be created in that stack, and 10 will be stored into that memory location. Then it will call this printf function to print out the value of this num on the screen. So I told you in that class that the person that is going to do all this activity will be what? The CPU. So what I'm just trying to teach you in this class is to show you that based on this auto, this variable, right, will be stored in stack. So the location will be what? Stack. Then the scope of this auto will be that the moment you encounter this closing curly bracket, this variable will be destroyed in the memory. It will be destroyed. So the scope is what? Is local, meaning the scope is what? Is local to this what? To this function. The lifespan is what? The moment this function is gone from the memory, this variable will also be gone, right? Then the default value, if I didn't assign a value, this 10 to it, let's say I leave it like this, and then I ask it to print it out, the default value will be what? Garbage value. Garbage value. It will be meaningless. You will just be seeing series of numbers, right? That is what it will be. So the lifespan will be what? Dependent on what? This function. The moment you exit this function, that variable is destroyed. So it will print out on the screen, it will print out this line and num, what? 10. Then it will return back to this main function, and it will call it again. When it calls it again, it will be loaded back into the stack, and then this variable will be created, and 10, I assigned 10 initially, 10 will be assigned to it. So it will print out this same line again, and it will print out 10. So that is what this auto is doing. So every time I call the function, it's going to repeat that same value. It is that time it's going to assign the value and to print it out. So as many times as possible that I call this function, it's going to repeat num equals to what? 10. Num equals to what? 10. Num equals to what? 10. Inside auto, num equals to 10. So this storage class is what tells you where this variable, that is, this storage class is what tells you where this variable will be stored in the memory and the lifespan. So the next class I'm going to teach you will be what? The static storage class. So let's go to code blocks. Let me demonstrate this for you to see. Now we are beginning to see how every human being is stored on the physical earth, right? So when somebody is a president, the person is the CEO, the person is an ordinary staff in the company. So those designation is what you're looking at as what? Storage classes. So let's go to code blocks. Let me demonstrate this for you to see. Okay, so these are code blocks on the auto example, just like what I showed you on the board. I'm just going to execute this program. You see, I included stdio.h, void auto example. So I'm creating a function, and inside this function, I am assigning 10 to the num variable, which is auto, and then I'm going to print this out. So I'm just going to call the function 2 times, and you see it to print out num equals to 10, num equals to 10. So let's execute it. So you see, inside auto, num equals to 10, num equals to 10. All right, so that's what I'm saying. If I remove this auto, right, and I leave it this way, it is still going to be auto. Now let's run it again. See, same thing. Inside auto, num equals to 10. So when you declare a variable without putting the storage class, automatically going to take the auto storage class. So that is what I want to show you. So you can see that you called the function twice and it printed the same value, because every time you exit this function, the variable is dropped. And then when you call it again, it will create the variable and reassign the value. So that is what I want to show you in this class. So till we see in the next class. Bye-bye.